What is up, survivors? Today we're going to be going over the Creature Finder Deluxe mod. This is a mod that lets you search the island or whatever map you're on for tameable creatures, shows you levels. This is a pretty awesome tool. Not a very huge mod. This is a fairly simplistic way that this works. It does map a couple of keys that you can change. Floating flying jellyfish. That's a thing now. I don't know why that was ever allowed to be a thing, but it's definitely a thing. Anywho, installing this mod will give you access to some hotkeys that are standard. Now you can also check out the Steam Workshop page as far as how to change some of these keys to do different things. It is important to note that if you are using this mod you're using it in single player, you have to change your launch options. If you're running this game through Steam, you have to change the launch options to prevent hibernation. That can also be found on the workshop of this mod. We'll leave a link in the description so you guys can check that out. But basically the way this works is once we're in here and animals are spawned, we can search the map for certain tames, and there's a couple different ways we can do that. What we're going to do is bring up the interface as it is. Now standardly it's just Shift and then F8, and it brings up this giant map and all these different options that we can choose from. We can change it between animals and flyers and different types of fish. We have a full list of you can filter this to only tameable things or specifically whatever you're looking for. It's going to list everything in here, even things that aren't normally in here. Like there's no aberrant raptors typically on the island, but if we search for them, obviously it comes back with 0. This Bronto is driving me absolutely bonkers. Let me go somewhere else. They're so loud. They're so loud. They're so obnoxiously loud. Anyway, Shift F8. We're back in here. So it'll have typical animals that aren't on the map. It's just a list of most animals. But anyway, so like for instance, if we want to search for alpha raptors, we can search for alpha raptors. It tells me all the different locations. The red is where we currently are, and the greens are where they already are. Now, if you hover your mouse over there, it'll give you the longitude, latitudes, and on the left hand side, or the right hand side rather, it'll give you all the stats basically. So the level, the health, whether it's a male, whether it's an adult or not. This is a pretty awesome option. Like I said, you can filter this to what can be tamed, what's unclaimed, tamed animals. So you can even search for tamed animals while you're out here as well. For instance, we have, we think we still have a trike on this one because of our trike taming video. Where's that? Right here at top. So we quickly search here. We have a full list of all these ones here. Now, if we search for tamed and do this again, it shows our trike that was tamed over there on the beach. So you can actually filter this by whether it's tamed or whether it's not, whether it's unclaimed. This is a pretty good option. I like this for a lot of different reasons. But anywho, so let's pick something else. Let's do, I don't know, Troodons. I don't know why you wouldn't find Troodons. Those things are the devil. But anyway, so we found them, right? We did the search, 156. They're all cycled in here. Let's say we only want to find, use gender. Let's say we only want to find females on the island. So this will give me all the females, what their health rating is, and all their levels, everything. So this is pretty cool. So once we have this done, once we have this part done, we can actually close out of this window. Once you're outside of this window, you can run other, and this is all F command function keys basically. So if we don't hit Shift, we just hit F8. What it does is it turns these things on or off. Let me turn my HUD back on. But it turns them on or off. Now, as we can see, we have a Troodon here right now. If I shift my camera over here, up in the top center, it actually gives me an arrow to show me where they're at. And you get the little display and how far away it is. Now, if I get it over into my field of vision, it tells me where it is, how far away it is, and that's how it goes. Now, there was a lot of other ones on here, obviously, and using F6 and F7, we can go to previous or what the next Troodon available is. So F7, I go over here. F7 bounces me over to here, and these are all the ones that it lists. It's pretty cool. Pretty neat concept. I like that. And these are obviously some of these are way far out now, and we can go back and forth between them. It's pretty cool. Looks like this cycles by distance originally. So like the one that was green a second ago. Where'd he go? Yeah, we got 877, so they're really close by. But you have a lot of different options, and you can search for just about any creature that you can possibly think of that's on the map currently, which is really cool because this works with mods and works with creatures that may not be tamed if you're on PvE and you're trying to figure out what animals are just lying around unclaimed, maybe because tribes left or whatever. This is a super easy way to figure that out, especially if you're an admin. You can pull this up and do it that way too and just kind of get rid of them. or give them out to other people that are still playing or whatever the case is. But anyway, that's how that works. Now you can hit F8, you just tap it to turn the search completely off, and you tap it again to turn it back on, and again Shift F8 will bring up this cool little panel. This is pretty cool. I like that you can be very specific with this. You know, if I'm looking for unicorns and I turn this off, I hit this, obviously there's no unicorns on the map, but let's say I'm searching for woolly rhinos. I can even cut this down to, you know, what gender it is, whether or not it can be tamed, what levels. Like if I only want level, I don't know, 30, let's go 30 to 32. It'll only give me the levels within that range, which is really neat. Like you can do a lot of this stuff, which is pretty cool. And you can add separate profiles in here to kind of save your searches and then go back and pull them in later on. This is really intricate for what it is. Like the idea to customize exactly what you're trying to find to see if it's spawning or not. This is also good from an admin standpoint as well. Let's say you added a mod in that added certain creatures into a map that doesn't normally have it. You can use something like this to figure out whether or not they're spawning very quickly. This is definitely useful from an admin side, useful from a player side for a lot of different reasons. I can see where this is cutting a little bit of corners. Like you don't actually need to go out and try to find animals of a higher level. You can just bam, know where they're at. I do understand that to a degree. I guess it really just depends on what sort of what you're aiming for as far as style of server that you might be running, or if you're just running solo, whatever you're doing. But this is pretty super, like I said, definitely super useful, and I definitely see its uses too often, especially on very big maps. You know, it's really hard to find some of these creatures, especially some of the smaller ones. You know, the bigger ones are pretty easy to find in T-Rex, things like that. They stand out pretty well. But if you're looking for something small, like otters, for instance, it's really hard to find these guys because of how small they are sometimes. So definitely for the smaller dinos, this is hecka useful. But for everything else too, I mean, it definitely keeps you from running around doing something that isn't constructive. You know, if you go out and say, oh, I'm going to go tame aloes today, but I don't know if there's any high level ones. I mean, this would keep you from making that long trek and spending a lot. It's a time saver is really what it comes down to. It's definitely a time saver. But again, being able to find unclaimed ones and also tamed creatures. So if maybe you lost your tame and you can't find it, this would be a super easy way to figure that out too, to find out where it's at. And like I said, if you hover over the location here, it gives you the longitude and latitude of them too. So it's super easy to figure out. And also giving yourself a reference point. So it does work as, you know, a typical map does anyway. All in all, I kind of like it. It seems to stack really well with other mods, but again, definitely pay attention. If you're running this on single player, you need to prevent hibernation. What I mean by that is typically in single player, typically the animals that are around me within render distance of me are the only creatures that are actually doing everything. Everything outside of that is in this quote unquote stasis mode, and it's not going to show up. They're not going to render in. They wouldn't show up on this. So if you don't have that running, it's not going to really do the search thoroughly for you. Now, obviously, if you're on a server that's going to be different, you're not going to have to do any of this. It's going to work just fine. And again, if you're wondering about how to turn that prevent hibernation mode on, definitely check out the link in the description of the video, and we'll put that in there. That's pretty much it, guys. It's a fairly straightforward mod, but definitely pretty useful. Hope you guys like it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys on the next one.